My favorite part about Keepa Product Finder is how specific you can get with some of the searches, because a lot of times it puts you in front of some really great products. So today I'm going to show you two searches that I've been using recently that has helped me find some really niche specific products. So the first search is going to be an out of stock search. So I'm going to show you how to find products that recently went out of stock, which is going to be helpful because there's not a lot of sellers on those listings, or none obviously on those listings. But if you can find them on certain websites, you can be the only one on the listing and sell at a premium. The second search is going to be another low offer count search where you're looking at products that were newly listed in the last 30 days on Amazon. And basically that's just going to put you in front of products that are selling quickly, but are newly listed and don't have a ton of sellers on them. So you can also sell at a premium. My name's Alex with AC Flips. I'm a full-time six-figure Amazon seller. Let's jump on the Keepa Product Finder and get onto those searches. All right, so we have our Keepa Product Finder open and we are going to start with the out of stock search. This one's pretty simple. We just want to follow some basic general rules. They're going to get us in front of the products we want to see. So like I said, these products have recently gone out of stock. So how do we configure the search tools to get in front of those types of products? Basically, we want products that have a decent average sales rank. On average, the products are going to sell fairly quickly. And if it's been out of stock for a long time, we can modify our search a little bit, but we're going to say products that are recently out of stock. So maximum we want to see on this is like 220,000, let's just say, because we might see some products that the rank does go up when it goes out of stock, but normally it sells pretty well. So basically, last 30 days, we're going to see at least, 220K rank or better. So we're not going to mess with the 90-day drops or the 30-day drops. We don't really care the movement of the sales rank as much as we do say, what the offer count is doing or how the product is selling. So for buy box price, again, we're not going to make a current price or anything like that. We can do an average. We can say, on average, this product was selling for a certain price. If we do a current price, then we're not going to see anything that's out of stock, because if it's out of stock, there is no price. So if we want to go 30-day average, we can at least put, a minimum of say $15. You know me on Keepa Product Finder searches, I like to have a minimum just because we don't want to see products that are like selling for $8 on Amazon, gone out of stock. We just can't find those cheap enough. So we'll go minimum $15 on the 30-day average. Amazon, we're actually going to click this out of stock because currently we want Amazon to not be on the listing, right? Or at least not recently had been on the listing. So we're just going to mark out of stock there. It's going to remove some products. Now what we can do is scroll all the way down to the offers count. So we're going to skip the category because we'll modify that a little bit later. But I just want to see how we can refine this search without even going through a category. And that's going to get us some really good searches here. So on the 30-day average, we want to see a minimum of 3 or 4 offers, right? That's going to give us the online arbitrage products that we want to see. And then again, that's a 30-day average. So I think let's put 4 just because sometimes 3, you still have private label or wholesale. 4 means, we don't just have Amazon and the brand selling. We don't just have Amazon and Zappos or whatever on the listing. We have minimum of 4 seller average over the last 30 days. So now for the current offer count, we want to have a maximum of 0 offers. So that's going to put us in front of, look at that, how we just narrowed that down all the way down to 4,300 products just by saying, the current offer count is at 0, which means the product has, 30-day average has had at least 4 sellers, but currently we're at 0. And if you want to modify this differently, right, we could bump this up to 10. It's going to lower our products even further. Again, putting it at least 4 gives us the opportunity to look at online arbitrage products. So already we're down to 4,000 products. So the last thing we want to modify in this section is scrolling down to Amazon out of stock. So, I like to put 50% out of stock up to 100%. So in the last 90 days, Amazon has been out of stock at a minimum 50%. So that cut out, about 1,000 products. All right, so now we're looking at 3,500 products. This is now where we can go and really narrow down our search based on the category that we're choosing. So for me, I'm going to go down each category that I want to see and determine, it's just going to make it a lot easier to break down. Instead of just looking at all 3,500 products, we can start with, say, beauty products. Then we can jump to clothing, and then we can switch to, grocery, and then we can go to home and kitchen. So breaking these categories down, let's just take a look here. If we go beauty, 127 products, that we can get through in under 20 minutes, right? And then we go down and we look at clothing. Okay, there's 800 products. That might take a little bit longer, but at least it's, 800 instead of 3,500. So just going category by category is going to make, it a lot easier to sort through products. And then just quickly, let's just go through the clothing quickly. One thing I want to mention here is looking at the current products, right? Just some rules of thumb when looking at these products, because again, 800 products is still a lot to get through. And a lot of these are not going to be worth your time because, for example, this neon orange, right? Neon watermelon colored crock, it could be an awesome seller. It could be a super high price, but just recently went out of stock. Do we really expect, an odd color like that to sell as well as, say, the blacks, the whites, the navies, the grays? Another thing, like a Brooks, a light blue shoe for a women's shoe, like that might sell okay, and the rank is really solid, but we just want to make sure that, does the product actually sell well? We're not just looking at a one-off variation, like a bright pink croc, size 5. Like how often is that actually going to sell? So before just clicking into every single product and looking through all 800, we could probably skip at least 50% of them just by understanding which variations, which colors, which sizes are not going to sell as well as others. So we can skip the pinks, we can skip the light blues. This is like the first one I would stop on, right? It's a 6 wide. Again, wide isn't like super common of a size either, especially size 6 wide for women's. The color is good, so that's the only reason why I would stick to this listing and look at it. So we can open that listing and look at it, right? Otherwise, I'm skipping these, right? That's just way too funky of colors. Even if the sizes look good, I just want to see more neutral colors that are going to sell well or be the higher selling variations. So we have a white 7 medium men's. That's definitely a product that could sell. And if we look at the chart, the price has dropped recently, but it's also out of stock. So it's a fast seller. So if you can find this somewhere, that could be a really good opportunity for you to sell a couple at a premium price. I'm going to quickly walk you through the chart of a product that will help you understand what this search brings up, what types of products that it's going to show us, what types of Keepa charts it's going to show us, because that's going to be super important for understanding, these types of products that we're looking at that are out of stock. Okay, so this is what you're going to see when you look at one of these listings. We're looking at an on cloud sneaker, 8.5. The color black lead. It seems like a pretty common color. We can look at the variations tab if we want, but again, we're not like looking through these listings and trying to find, oh, maybe this variation isn't as good. No, we're looking specifically at what Keepa tells us are out of stock items. So this product we have to stick with. It's a 2K rank, so we just have to assume that, it sells well. Now, maybe we want to look at the variations tab to understand how often this sells. If we can find it, how deep should we be going? Was it easy to find? All those questions can be answered through the data. But what we're seeing here, right? Seller Amp is telling us, there is no one selling this listing. So there's no featured offers. It's at 0. So what we need to do is understand, what was it selling at before? What are we buying this for? And can we sell it profitably if we list it at what everyone else was listing at before, or do we have to increase our price above? Because that's a little bit more risky. Let's take a look at the Keepa chart just to get a little bit more context. Okay, so we're seeing that, consistently in the past, this thing was selling right around that $184 range, $190, right in that range, right? So we see that the offer count was pretty consistently between, I would say, 3 and 6, 7 sellers. And then all of a sudden, these sellers went out of stock. The price shot up to $199, which isn't crazy high above the $190 price it was in the past. So that's a good sign. When you see the price sitting at, like, say, $100 and it shoots all the way up to $200, is it actually going to sell at that price? That's what you have to understand. What we're seeing here is that people are selling at this price. There looks to be one seller on the listing, or at least recently one seller was on the listing, and they're listed at $199. So if this seller does sell out of their stock, kind of proves that this product was selling at $199. So if you are profitable at $199, that's great. If you're profitable at $191, that's even better, because then you can list it at the $199, hoping to sell at that high price, because you are the only one on the listing. So people can't choose between other sellers. There's no competition. So you could list it at the high price. And then, if other sellers do find the same deal you found, jump on the listing. We know that historically we should be able to sell it at least at like 185 or higher. So those are the types of things you want to look at when understanding these charts, so you can get through these products efficiently. All right, on to our next search. So I cleared the search here and Keepa Product Finder. So now we're going to be looking for products that were semi-newly listed. And what we expect to find on those listings are the new listings don't have a ton of sellers because they're fairly new. A lot of them are third-party sellers, right? So, they're just listings created by sellers like us, and there's just not a lot of competition on those listings. So what we want to find are those newer listings that do have a rank, right? We can modify the sales rank on those. So it's basically newer products that are selling pretty well, and then also have low competition. So these are products that we'll have to determine how deep we want to go on them, because again, if it's really easy to find, we have a short window to actually be profitable before a bunch of sellers jump on the listing and then the price tanks. But if we can get to that before the price tanks, there's a lot of opportunity here. So let's break down how we can find that search. Okay, so sales rank, again, we're going to look at an average sales rank maximum. So I'm going to actually go pretty high on this because if we see a trend in the downward direction on the rank, that means that it is selling and maybe it just hasn't been listed long enough to actually have enough time to decrease its rank. Because if it does sell a certain amount of times per month and the rank is going down, there's a good chance that the rank will continue to go down. But we don't want to weed out products that are on that downward trend because it might weed out some really good products. So we're going to go 250,000 on the sales rank, right? 30-day sales rank. Maximum 250. We're going to leave the current open because that might give us some false data. So we don't want to do that. Again, you know me, I like looking at products that are above $15. It's just going to put us in front of products that we can actually find through online arbitrage. Amazon, we want them to be out of stock. We don't want to see Amazon on any of these listings because chances are if it's a new listing and Amazon's on it, they are going to have a lot of stock. They're going to dominate that listing. So now we'll scroll down. And again, we can do the category last because we want to see what is the big picture search. What does it give us? And then we can narrow down by category. It's going to make it a lot easier to dissect the search. So offer count, here's where we want to modify our search again. So current offer count, we don't want to see anything more than say 10 sellers because at that point, listings are starting to get saturated. 30-day average, we also potentially don't want to see more than 10 sellers. So it didn't weed out a ton of products yet. But we got to see when we actually get to the actual search here. And again, we can modify, get really specific with the offer count. We can get really specific with the sales rank, but let's just get the bulk of the main search done here. And then we'll modify from there. So the next thing we want to go down to is listed since. Okay, so now this is going to really narrow down our search. We want to find products that were listed, say in the last 2 weeks to a month. So let's just say a month for now. So from, right, we're going to look from, let's say, February 19th. That's what we're going to look for. February 19th to today, March 19th. So puts us in front of 91,000 products. Okay, so we narrowed it down from millions and millions of products down to 91,000. This is where we're going to start looking at certain categories to really narrow our search. And if we still don't have a narrow enough search, then we can get more specific on the offer counts. We can get more specific on the price, how those move and everything like that. So one last thing that I forgot to change was Amazon out of stock. We want that to be at least 75% out of stock up to 100. Again, we did Amazon out of stock on the current. So it didn't weed out a ton of products because Amazon was already weeded out. But now let's go back to the category and see how specific we can get on the category and hopefully put us in front of some good products. So let's start with beauty. So there's 5,000 beauty products that have been listed in the last 30 days, and that also fit our criteria. So basically what this is saying is in the last 30 days, 5,000 products have been listed as new listings and are less than 250,000 rank in the last 30 days. They have an average of under 250,000 rank. Now, maybe we went a little too high on this 250,000, so maybe we can move that down to 150,000, and let's just see what that does to our search. Okay, so it weeded out like another 1,500 products, which is great. So basically what that is saying is we're just finding products that are selling pretty quickly because they went from no rank, new listing, all the way down to under 150,000 rank. Now in beauty, that might be a little bit too high. In clothing, that would show us that we're starting to get some fast sellers. Health and household or home and kitchen, those categories, 150,000 will be good. If we're looking at beauty, maybe we want to go down to like 120,000. That's going to give us a few more faster sellers. But if we just go find products, let's do this search and see kind of what pops up here. So the first thing I'm noticing is that we see a lot of one seller listings. So I think that's one thing that I kind of forgot to add in there, which what we had in there in the first search. So let's actually go back to that before we get too far, because I think it's going to give us a lot better search results. We need to put a minimum current offers. So minimum current offers, we need to have at least 3 offers in there because again, we want to weed out any wholesale or private label products where there's only one seller on the listing, right? There's going to be a ton of those listings where one seller, brand new listing, and we're not going to touch that listing because we can't find it or we can't find it profitably. So, all right, so there we go. Now we're in front of some really hyper-specific products in the beauty category. And again, now that our search is a lot lower, maybe we do want to widen the sales rank again to see if that gets us a little bit better or more expanded search. So if we go up to 150,000, now we're looking at 39 products in the beauty category. Again, now we can modify our category search, once we get through these 39 products, it's going to make it more manageable to get through. So if we look at these products, now we're looking at some of these listings that do have a few more sellers on them. So you can go through these. So remember, we're going to be looking at newer listings here, and then also listings that are selling fairly quickly. So if they're a new listing and they're already getting ranked below 150,000, that must mean that they're selling pretty quickly. So again, if we want to modify our search to expand and get a few more products in there, we can do that. We can always change the category here to look at different brand types, different product types. And if you see brands that you've already sold in the past, these just might be new listings or new variations that are going to help us expand our catalog. So hopefully you guys get some use out of these searches. I know I have been finding a ton of products with both of these searches because it's just very hyper specific. It's very niche types, and not a lot of people are searching these things. So if you guys found these searches helpful, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.